Hey everybody, it's Matt Brown. We're going to look at the When Cries Mary in this one, and this will just be kind of like a general how to play in the style of Hendrix kind of lesson 2. So first things first, let's talk about the key and the tempo and rhythm and all of that. This one is in the key of F, and the tempo is really slow. It's about 70 beats per minute, so I guess not really slow, but fairly slow. So a tip when playing at tempos fairly slow, kind of as a rule, anything below 90 beats per minute, I like to tap my foot in the 8th note. Otherwise, the quarter note's so far apart that it's kind of hard to keep your rhythm really steady. So just keep that in mind, and that'll help you out with your rhythm and timing. Okay, so let's get into what's going on with the chords and all of that at the beginning. So what we're doing is going up chromatically to an F chord, and we're using these kind of inverted power chords. So the chords here, we have an E flat 5 / B flat to start with, so that's 6, 6, 8, 8, and then that shape is just kind of, like I said, we're going up chromatically, so until we reach that F chord there. Alright, then basically what we do is the same chord progression but with different voicings. So what these chords are, basically what you're doing is playing a first inversion chord of each of these chords. So this is an E flat with a G in the bass now. So the fret numbers would be 10, 8, 8 on this one. And then that's going up chromatically. Well, what he's doing is, to make this a little fancier, he's holding down to start with the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings with the first finger, and then hammering on to just the 5th string with the ring finger. So you get, and that's happening with each chord. So just a little grace note, quick hammer on. So then that all repeats again. Alright, the next thing that happens is a little, it's an F major pentatonic lick. Same notes as D minor pentatonic. So, is the idea. And, you can slide into it and kind of embellish it how you want. Something like that. Anyway, the notes are 10, 12 on your 5th string, and then 10 to 12 on your 4th string, or G to A and C to D. And then back to the A note. Okay, so now we're into what I'm going to call the verse part of the song. It's kind of the repeated part that happens over and over in the song. So, the chord progression is essentially, it's C major for 2 beats, B flat major for 2 beats, and then you're to your 1 chord, your F for full measure. So, as far as the chord options for C are concerned, you might see that, which is kind of like a Hendrixy way of playing a C chord, where he's using the thumb to do the root note on the 6th string, and it's also muting the 5th string. And then these fingers up here are kind of fretting like the shape of your F chord slid up, I suppose. So anyway, the frets would be 8s, muted, 10, 9, 8, 8. So that's one option for C. Another one would be the C over here. So on your inner 4 strings, 3, 5, 5, 5, he uses that one in the song. The other option is just kind of your open C chord. So the idea is that from one repetition of the chord progression to another, you're changing your chord voicings and you're embellishing them different each time to keep variety going. Alright, so depending on where you start with the C, that's going to determine where you play the B flat. So if you play your C up here, it's logical to play your B flat like this. Now if you play your C over here, it's more logical to play your B flat as this one. Something that he does though with the B flat chord is he often just plays like some sort of major pentatonic lick over top of it. Something like this. something like that. So the kind of rule with Hendrix playing is if your bar chord is right here, so for instance we have a B flat, the pentatonic scale that you want to use over top of it is 2 frets up, so and that holds true for really any of his songs. It's kind of a formulaic thing really once you figure out what he's doing. Okay, so yeah, what we have so far. So with the F chord, he's almost, I would say, exclusively playing it right here with the thumb over type deal. And what this allows him to do is on your 3rd string, you can do hammer-ons from the open string to the 2nd fret, like that kind of sound. You can also do the sus4 note, which would be the 3rd fret of your 3rd string. Something else you can do is hammer on with the pinky on the 2nd string, or do a pull-off, or both, whatever. And then the 3rd fret of the 1st string. So if you want to know what these chords are, this would be an add 9 if you put it on the 1st string, an F6 if it's on the 2nd string, and F sus4 if it's on the 3rd string. So something that I forgot to mention too is that between the C chord and the B flat, you can put a chromatic B bass note between them to add some variety. So let's put this all together and with what you might have. Alright, so in the verse part, it happens 3 times. And then we're going to go to kind of this transitional part, and that sounds like this. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're doing a G chord, and this is fretted with the quote Hendrix way that I've explained earlier. So you're doing 4 strums and 16th notes, then doing a pull-off on the 2nd string. Then you're doing the exact same thing but up at a B flat chord, so that's thumb at the 6th fret. Alright, and then we're back to the main thing. So, the only other parts to talk about really to this one, we have the solo section and then an ending to talk about. So let's get into all of that. Okay, so let's talk about some of the little tricks that he's doing here. Like the little first lick he's doing. A lot of this stuff he's kind of imitating popular, I guess, keyboard licks. Whether, at the time might have been, most commonly electric piano or organ or whatever. So all you're doing really is barring the 13th fret of the highest 2 strings, hammering onto just the 2nd string with the ring finger, and then just kind of sliding away. The next trick, what he's doing is he's starting with the middle and index fingers at the 12th and 13th frets, and just kind of putting on the 3rd finger and taking it away, and then coming down to the 15th fret of the 4th string with the pinky, and then playing the 2nd and 3rd strings again. So I'll do that again. So this is a trick that he uses in like like Little Wing and probably other songs as well, I'm sure. So that's how he's doing the second and third licks. And then what he's doing is doing some licks out of like your B flat major pentatonic scale. So using your 15th and 17th frets there. So those kind of ideas repeat an awful lot. And the chord progression that he's playing over here it's basically kind of like your verse progression for the most part, but in a different key. So it's an F to an E flat to a B flat to an A flat for the bulk of it. And then what you have is, you have this kind of transitional section that comes in that, with some different chords. So the licks over that, you're basically taking up a full step from the beginning. So same kind of ideas. The next thing he does is just kind of like outlining a B flat chord. So he's playing out of kind of like this Chuck Berry kind of B flat chord here at the 6th, 7th, and 8th frets. So what he does is this. So just kind of embellishing that B flat. Then you have some D flat major pentatonic licks. And then at this point you're back to your home key. So those type of licks I've already talked about. And then you have an F major pentatonic lick at the end. That also includes a B flat note in there. So, or a different way of doing it. So that takes care of the solo. I'll talk about how he's kind of doing the chords underneath next. So instead of doing like the F right here, he's doing kind of the kind of inverted version of it that is used in the very beginning of the song. So that's 12, 10, 10, 10, and you can slide into it and arpeggiate if you want. And then the E flat chord's next, so you can kind of do a similar thing with that if you want. And then over the B flat chord, he kind of gets a little Beatlesy with it, and he's just using some major pentatonic licks. So over the B flat chord, B flat major pentatonic, and then going to the A flat, and still using B flat major pentatonic over that chord. So to give you something of what you might hear something like this. Alright, so that's going to repeat a few times, and then let's look at the key change section. So what in the key change, you're going to have your pretty much like the transitional part in the beginning of the song, but the chords last a little bit longer. So you're going to have G for a full measure. And you can do the little embellishments with it like that. Same thing over the B flat chord. Now what we're going to do, this is where the kind of transitional stuff here happens. We have a D flat chord. And back to F. And here he just plays a power chord. And you're back to that part. Alright, so let's look at some of the licks that he does for the ending. So for the licks at the end, he's kind of doing some, keyboard licks again. Stuff like that. So all that is a real common kind of lick. You're sliding fourths around, so you're sliding the 8th fret up to the 10th fret and back. And then here, you're playing an F chord and hammering it onto like a B flat chord to embellish it. So here you have the first finger at the 10th fret of your 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. And then you're hammering on just the 4th and 2nd strings with the 3rd and middle fingers. And the 3rd finger is going on the 4th string, middle going on the 2nd string. So that's the lick. And then you get the chords. And then you're going to get some sort of major pentatonic lick in F. Like something like that. Alright, so let's check out the next idea. So what he does next, on one of the channels, one of the guitars just doing the chords and the... So I'm mainly talking about the like lead guitar part. So the lead guitar is just playing the bass notes next. Is the ending. So I'll do that again. Cool, so that does it for the Wind Cries Mary. I'm Matt Brown. If you want my transcription of this, just yell at me, and I'll see you guys around.